the human mind, and why it reasons the way it does. But first, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sigmund Freud. I am Austrian, and I was born in 1836. I'm a psychologist by trade, and I'm highly controversial in that field. The first part of the human psyche I'd like to discuss is the unconscious. The unconscious is a part of the brain you're not aware of. It contains all repressed memories, especially traumatic experiences. Though this is not part of your active thought, your unconscious controls everything you do. All neuroses are caused by memories in the unconscious mind. The only way to heal a psychological ailment is by assessing the unconscious, and the only way of doing that is through psychoanalysis. Considered the father of psychoanalysis by many people. Psychoanalysis works like this. First, the patient comes down and lies down on my couch. Also, it is usually helpful if I have just administered large doses of cocaine to both the patient as well as myself. Then, I encourage the patient to talk about whatever comes into their minds. As the analyst, I take a copious amount of notes on what they say. Then, I give a prescription for more coca and send them on their way. I then light up a cigar, sit back, and analyze my notes. I look for patterns in the patient's train of thought that could link back to a repressed memory. Once the source of a patient's anxiety is found, they may be cured. This procedure is the only way to access the unconscious mind. Beyond just the conscious and unconscious, the mind can be divided into three parts: the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is completely conscious. It is composed of all the drives, urges, and impulses that are produced by the unconscious mind. The ego is mostly conscious and comes from external knowledge. The superego is somewhat conscious and acts as a moral compass, usually influenced by societal rules. These three parts of the mind are constantly in conflict with one another. For example, if I were, say, walking down the street, my ego might say to me, "Hey Sigmund, you see that baby in the road? You want to run him over with your bicycle." To which my ego would respond, "No. If you do that, you are likely to get blood all over your bicycle as well as your trousers." My superego would then tell me, "Sigmund, it's wrong to kill babies. Why don't you go bake a pie and give it to impoverished street urchins?" Clearly, all of this conflict between the three can put a great strain on the mind and cause a man tremendous stress. Thankfully, cocaine can subdue all three parts, and they then work harmoniously together. There is a certain problem of knowledge I would like to discuss with you today. This is a problem that has caused many an argument between psychologists and will probably conflict other great psychologists well into the future, perhaps even into the year 2007. Just speculation, of course. This is the question of free will. Do we not? I will try my best to explain both sides of this controversial issue. Certain psychologists, such as Mr. William James, believe that everything everyone does is done by choice, and that the more choices you make, the more psychologically healthy you become. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with Mr. James. As far as I am concerned, free will does not exist. Every time you think that you are making a choice, you are really being controlled by your unconscious mind. Free will is simply an illusion. No one consciously chooses anything. I will try to illustrate this with an example. Suppose a man kills his neighbor in his sleep with a baseball bat. According to James, this man was given a choice. He could kill his neighbor, he could not kill his neighbor. He weighed both options and decided that murder was the more beneficial choice. From my perspective, this man killed because his neighbor reminded him of his father. Because all boys resent their fathers because of their fear of being castrated, of course his unconscious mind willed him to commit the murder. He really had no choice in the matter. Also, as you may have noticed, a baseball bat is rather phallic in shape, is it not? I believe this calls for no further explanation. It is quite obvious that free will does not exist.